groups. And we're going to start with group number 5. And their team is up here. And we're going to have a timer for 3 minutes. Buzzer goes off after 3 minutes. And then we'll do 2 minutes of questions. Does anyone have any questions about the process?
Good job. It was fun.
Okay, great. So we're really excited to see what you guys have. And without further ado, I'll hand it off to team number 5.
So hi, we're group 5. We focused on what is the priority or the best use case of Etherscan. What is Etherscan useful for that differentiates it from a MetaMask or MyEther wallet or Explorer? And we thought that if you want to look at market cap, all that, just go to exchanges. If you want to look at the balance, and toggle between balances, maybe it's just better to get on MetaMask. So what Etherscan is great for is it's about aggregating all of your past, all of your history, and it's about like getting a quick overview of the whole of you, and as opposed to just the present. So we thought about that aggregator aspect, and we decided that we would redesign Etherscan in 2 main ways. One is make it so that you can aggregate all of your wallet addresses, and so you have this like drop-down bar. If you list a certain wallet address that you own or your group of friends owns, you can access all of their balances within this drop-down bar, and then at the very end there's an aggregate option where you can look at all of the combined transaction histories and the balances for those addresses that you've listed. The other one is we realized that Etherscan doesn't really do a great job of tracking non-fungible assets, so we thought in the tokens tab we could also add the feature of being able to access and view all of your digital assets. So here you have visual representations, a little bit a la Rarebits, where you can see whether the kitties or CryptoCities or whatnot in visual form. So to summarize, aggregating all of your addresses into a very easy, useful manner, and then aggregating all of your ERC 721 derived assets as well. And that's our ETH briefcase.
Does anyone have any questions for the team? Cool. Thank you, guys.
Great.
Next group is group number 3.
You killed it. That's good. Hey. Oh wow, that's awesome. Thanks.
I recorded it.
We need one more holder.
Yeah, oh, there it is. Okay, so for the time given, we were just we were looking at very minor changes to the UI. So for Etherscan, it seemed that the entering in the information, where there's a contract or a wallet, it seemed to be it's the most prominent part of the interaction. So we wanted to make that really, really big, and then also not necessarily with some of the other widgets here, the blue took away. Your eye went straight to this rather than to the very important to put the search bar in the front. The other thing too, just pack in the information density. There is a lot of not wasted space, but maybe it could be a little bit more efficient. You can add more space to the home page. And then when it went into the when you go into the second level, when you enter in your contract, it seemed that the most important information was what are the transactions, and right now it just seemed like it wasn't as information dense. So how you could search for it, there's no way to sort by the last age. There wasn't a button there to do ascending or descending, the age of the transactions, and also the in terms of the pagination, there's no quick way where you can enter in, a specific page. It's just like first, next, last, and that's a pain in the butt, especially if you're a database, look up database tables all the time. You want that quick thing. And so in terms of the contract, that information seemed pretty large, and you're trying to make that smaller, although it's large here. Anyway, that's our use case, looking up contract second level in Etherscan. So. Thanks. Who's next?
Any questions?
Any questions? Oh,
Cool. Move on to group 2.
Thank you.
So you can hold a mic.
oh, okay.
Okay, so given the short amount of time, we made this scope very, very narrow. So our user persona that we're assuming in this world is that this is already a world where people have made a bunch of dApps. Let's say that there's escrow services or there's any sort of payment type of service. Our UI here for Etherscan is purely understanding a single transaction of, I am an escrow service, I sent money from one person to the other, and that person says, yeah, you can verify it. Just go check it on the blockchain. How does that person do that? This is the general flow of what we had in mind.
Yeah, so basically right now it's really hard to tell if you sent Bitcoin to someone, if that transaction went through or not. So we're going to drastically simplify that. We're going to ask you for 2 inputs. Number 1, your transaction number, aka the transaction hash. Number 2, your wallet address. And essentially what that's going to do is when we get your wallet address, we're going to transform it into like a Blockies icon. It's like a special icon that's unique that looks like a picture of something that represents you. And we'll have an arrow pointing to who you're sending to. And that address will also be represented as a Blockies icon. So no more public keys because people can't process that. And then transaction, well, from there. Sorry.
Yeah, we can talk about it. Anyway, what we wanted to get away from is showing a bunch of number vomit and not make it easy for people to scan information. I'm all about scannability. So we said, converting that, like the number into a visual representation, like Ethereum has these cool like blockies that somebody made. It essentially takes that address and converts it into an icon that's actually kind of recognizable and whatnot. So if this is a landlord, I think we saw one of the prompts there, a landlord trying to verify that one of their tenants has sent the rent or whatever. So they'll know that this is their own address. If they come to this transaction, they'll know, hey, this is my own address. This is my own address icon. This is the address icon for the tenant and blah, blah. You can see how much was transacted, at what time it was initiated. And the other thing that was very important, we thought, was understanding the status of the transaction. So we kind of have like a step, progress bar essentially, so you'll know when it was initiated. As it's progressing through, you'll see each of these fill up. So once it's initiated, in progress, you'll know exactly where the transaction is in terms of the life cycle of that transaction. And then you have an easy way to get to the data vomit table if you want to, that has all the information that you need, which is sort of like this. So, boop, expands, boop, closes up. And then we want to have sort of like at every step, like a need help or a question mark, an icon where people can kind of understand what each is without putting all that information here. We can kind of direct them, give them that information piece by piece as they need it. So that's it. Any questions? Cool.
Thank you, guys. I like that animation. Last group number 1.
Yeah, let's stick it up, I guess.
Yeah, it will be detailed. I think I will talk about the basic use case. After that. So, hi everyone. So we're working on a use case that is because we have a lot of accounts and we have a lot of projects that are tracking the token flows or Ether flows online. So this derives from several use cases. One, there are daily traders where you want to look at the big cats or the big token holders, where the token is being transferred, and also like the market makers within these project teams, and also in some cases like donations, where you want to keep track on some of these accounts where these tokens get transferred and when that tokens get transferred and so on. The tracking of token flow is important in different scenarios. So we focused on designing a different version of Etherscan that could help us keep track of some important accounts in certain periods of time, where we can look at the important transactions, big transactions, and also like accounts where big money is getting in. So I'm handling that to my friend.
Nima, did you have anything?
Yeah, so I mean, the basic idea is that we wanted this to be visual, so that people can visualize transactions, like the size of them, the quantity, and do it over by time, or sort them by the size of a transaction or the value that's being transacted, so that people have a way to visually quickly glean information about their accounts or their addresses.
Okay. So it's a mobile app.
Yeah, so we designed for mobile, and we started with the landing page. Here you can search for it based on your wallet or scan the code. You'll have your what's trading right now, and then all these boxes represents accounts, and the different sizes of the box will represent the amounts, and then your watch list. And then so once you search for your transaction that you're looking for, you show the screen.
Okay. So up at the top, you have, once again, once you're in the app, you have a bucket search. And of course, you can tap, thanks. So you can tap it, and then the keyboard would come up. And then if you're kind of on the go or you're doing something quickly, somebody can actually bring a QR code. They can tap on their transaction and bring up a detailed view. And in the detailed view, this is a pop-up right here, and you actually have a QR code down here you would tap. And the QR code would come up on that transaction. You could actually scan it from somebody else's phone. So when you swipe, big fan of swipe left, swipe right, like sound, yeah, like SoundCloud. So you could actually, you can quickly, here's the transaction history or what is it?
Timeline.
Yeah, the timeline. So you can actually go back and forth, and this is locked. Oh, and you have granularity. You have month, week, and day. You can actually drill it down. And then this is locked here. If you prefer more like a list or a spreadsheet view, this is actually locked. When you go left and right and you're going down the chain, it actually would correspond here. And then you can tap on it, and then you get the detailed view, which actually pops up, and then this grays out, of course, or blurs out. And then you've got the very detailed view. You can scroll up and down, and of course, this is close the window, and then you've got the QR code if you want to share it with somebody. You tap it, and it comes up, and then somebody can get it on their phone. Okay? Did you have anything? Did you have anything?
I think the one thing I would emphasize is that this is transactions in and transactions out. So you get an idea of what's happening with the money flows, yeah, and token flows.
Scroll up and down on this too.
Yeah. Yeah. So there.
Okay, I think that's it.
So that's kind of like the UI visual is kind of like overflow.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Or in like it, as far as the emphasis, it's kind of like it would highlight it, but like it actually, you get the Mac OS dock, when you go along, it kind of magnifies it. So you would actually get something like that. And these would actually be very detailed and large, and then slightly smaller as you go. So it's like you're magnifying it. Okay? All right.
People want this app.
All right. Cool.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you guys very much. That was really cool because it was, when we first came into this, it was hard to visualize what the output would be. And this was a great example of all four of these presentations were great examples of what this kind of output could be. And so, yeah, we could even blow this up and turn into a hackathon and turn these apps into reality. So until tomorrow morning, you guys down? Cool. Well, thank you to SF Ethereum and Starfish Mission Starfish? Starfish Mission for hosting. And we have some more time to hang out here. There's some more beer in the back, so definitely network, meet some other folks. A few of us were talking about maybe going to a nearby bar called Hotspot. If a group is interested in doing that, we could also do that. But otherwise, I'll hand it over to you guys if there's anything else to wrap up with.
Do you guys have any upcoming events that you want to talk about?
Just so many.
Just
look at it on Facebook. I guess Alex says so. Keep it lightning talks. Give them the mic.
Did you want to?
Yeah, sure. Lightning talks. Yeah, right? Yes.
So next Friday, during the regular happy hour over here at Starfish, we'll do like a happy hour for crypto gaming, because on Monday and Tuesday, of 14th and 15th of May, there is a huge blockchain Gamer Connects conference. It's part of Pocket Gamer Connects. These guys been hosting like Pocket Gamer Connects and stuff like Coin Agenda at the same hotels for years, like back in 2014, 2015, but they never made it like a one event. So this is the first time that Steel Media, the organizers of Pocket Gamer Bees, brings like blockchain expertise into their core events. So on next Friday, we'll be just hanging out like a mingle before blockchain gaming conference. And if anyone is into gaming or 3D, please come talk to me. So see you next Friday.
Hi, I'm just giving a quick plug for a project I'm working on. Basically, I'm working on a Bitcoin wallet that's supposed to be super simple, meaning you only send Bitcoins to people using their email address, the recipient's email address. So if anyone's interested in working on a project like that with me, please hit me up. Thank you.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
So, quick, shameless plug. Tomorrow night, if you ever want to not leave this space, we can, put up hammocks and such. From 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. It's Blockchain for Ecology. Check it out on Facebook. Huge interest. They're in restoring Earth's ecosystems using distributed